Well, let's just say worst case scenario that Breaking 3 never gets made. Are we going to see you in any other films or any other venues performing your own style? And I make a particular note because I would assume for most of us who follow your career and the style that you do, the Osaka clip that's on YouTube is that the latest thing that's out there featuring you?
No. That's actually quite a few years. Few years back when I was in Osaka, but I'm glad that footage is out there because I had a lot to prove. I had a lot to prove that year when I hadn't been in Japan for quite some time, and I went back and did that show in '97, and I had so much. I was carrying the weight of Moses figuratively on my shoulders. So I had so much to prove. So many other dancers, Poppin' Pete and Mr. Wiggles, and I mean, most of the dancers from the old school days had been finding work overseas. Right. And I said to myself, well, if I'm going to go out there and do a solo for the Asian audience, I want to do something that's going to make the next dancer after me work harder. So that was kind of like a solo where it was kind of hard to top for other dancers.
That was good.
So yeah, somebody ended up getting that footage and posting it online, so I was kind of glad that they did that. But back to your question about any other film project, I just had a meeting with a talent manager who has been a friend of mine since I was 14 years old, and because of the new popularity of street dancing, he told me he'd like to manage me and capitalize on what's going on. So I'll see how that goes and see what we can come up with together. For years, a lot of the reason why people hadn't seen me, I stopped being represented by a talent agency by choice because I just felt that the agents at the time didn't really market me the way I wanted to be marketed. They just wanted to go after the quick dollar and keep me as a dancer. And as an artist, as any artist, everybody evolves into something else. You never know what your potential is going to be unless people, allow you to have a platform, for your creativity. And, Toni Basil, who came out with the song Mickey, she went on to become a legendary singer. She's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because she chose to, after performing with the Lockers, she chose to enter a singing career, and she got a hit with Mickey, and now she's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And also, there's been other artists like the late Fred Rerun Barry, who was a former member of Shabba-Doo's group, The Locker, who became an actor on the hit television show of the '70s called What's Happening. So those were examples for me to make a transition into becoming, a bigger artist. And after the Breaking films, I found that talent agents, every call that I was going out for, they just wanted me to dance. And, I carried myself as an actor with dialogue through 2 movies, so I pretty much wanted to pursue other things, and it just wasn't happening. So hopefully this is what I perceive happening. I would like to not only dance, but try my hand at acting parts. I mean, I really admire what happened with John Travolta. After Saturday Night Fever and Grease, he disappeared for a while, and then he came back with Look Who's Talking, and we saw John Travolta, back on the screen, and then he won that award for Pulp Fiction, and the thing is, you never know. As long as the door's open, you never know what's out there. So I definitely I'm pursuing that aspect of it. And as you were saying about a film, we've been waiting for this Breaking 3 venture for about 3 to 4 years now. We've been waiting for that to come through, and that would have given me some camera time to show my chops as a comedian and an actor, as well as showing what I could do as a dancer, So we'll see.
Okay. What are your thoughts on the state of street dancing, b-boying today, and where do you see it going in the next 10 years?
I really am impressed of the new generation of dancers, and like I said, I have to commend the Asian kids out there. I mean, the Japanese, the Filipinos, the Koreans. A lot of the Asian kids have taken the street dancing to another level as far as the b-boying. I mean, the break dancing is far beyond what it used to be when Beat Street and Wild Style and all those old school films were made. They just took it to another level, but I don't really see that many people that have taken up picked up the torch more or less with popping. There's only a handful of dancers that are really, that really stand out from with their popping skills. And I hope that there's more vehicles for these dancers to express their talent, because one thing about b-boying and street dancing, this is a lot of people that didn't have really anything going for them. This is a way for them to make money and to gain recognition, and also to have a valid career. And so I hope that the film projects and television commercials and media still continues to give a open platform for all these different dancers that are coming up, and hopefully in the next 10 years, we'll see more styles that spawn from b-boying and popping and locking, and or maybe a progressive version.
Well,
that's what I see in about 10 years.
Well, before I give you names, and you can see on the question list, I have a couple of names there. Are there any names that you would like to mention of poppers who are out there that you feel are really taking it to the next level?
Well, I saw in your interview, the two artists that really that stand out for me is one guy from France. His name is Salah. He's a French
Yes.
dancer. I had the privilege of meeting him. I really like what he's done with the style, because he's a showman. He's captured the showman. He's taken it from just battling to actually putting on a full one-man show, and he's visually entertaining. And for people that have never been exposed to a solo artist or a solo dancer, he's one of those unique guys that bring the wow factor back to people. People have always enjoyed watching these street dancers or whatever, and after a while, it kind of lost that spark and got over choreographed, because you got to remember a lot of people that got into street dancing, they didn't learn it from the streets. This new generation, a lot of them have gone to actual hip hop classes, which hip hop classes have popped up around the world. So they're spawning students who have gotten taught in a class how to do certain movements and not really learn improv or coming up with their own style. So David Elsewhere and Salah, those are two people that come to my mind because they're so different, and they're not African American, and they have this image where it doesn't, when you look at them, you're not really looking at what nationality or national cultural background they came from. You're just looking at a dancer and a style, which in its purest form, between those two guys, I think they're pretty good vehicles to keep the style out there. Salah, by him coming from France, it gives an international flavor, and it shows how much when I say me, Taco, and any of the founding fathers of the arts that have graced any kind of television or film, which reached around the world. Salah is an example of what our influence has been around the world. He's one of the guys that's actually he's getting attention, and he's developed his own style because of what he watched, on television and film, and he made up his own style. Whereas David Elsewhere, he's more of a contortionist, and he's not a rhythmic dancer. He doesn't dance to the beat. he's like an illusionist, but he's